testimony number 16, and this one is entitled Schools. I've attended numerous schools throughout my lifetime, and I believe I've attended more schools than the average person. Um, Even before I was going to schools, I started like enrolled at a school. I used to visit school because my mom is a teacher, right? She is still a teacher. My mom's a teacher. So before I was even enrolled at a school, I was visiting school. I was going to school with my mom because before I used to go to school with my mom, she used to let me stay with like somebody that used to nurse me in the daytime while she was at work. But my mom wasn't pleased with the person that was nursing me. So my mom decided me to bring me to school with her. Yes. So I wasn't old enough to go to school as yet, but what she did, she made a uniform for me because in Jamaica, we students go to school in uniform. High school, basic school, preschool, or basic school, elementary or primary school, and high school students go to school in uniform. But I was old enough to go to elementary or even basic school. So what she did, she still created a uniform for me and brought me to school with her. And what she did was she let the students in her class keep me for the day. So the students would keep me and take care of me while she was teaching. So the first school that she used to bring me to was Windsor's Castle All Age School in Portland. That's the first school she used to bring me to. And then we migrated to Kingston while she was teaching, and then she was teaching at the halfway tree primary school, and she used to bring me to school with her, and I used to be in her class. And sometimes she used to put me in grade one. Sometimes she would let the grade one key teacher put me in the class, and those students would also keep me. And I used to be in grade one as well. So, that was like the early years. And while in Kingston, I used to also visit two basic schools. I can remember that I used to go to two basic schools. I think I used to go to one basic school first, and then she moved me to another basic school. That's when we were living in Kingston. I think it was for like a year or two we were living in Kingston. And then we moved back to St. Mary, to the rural side of Jamaica. We moved back to St. Mary. And at that time, my mom started working at the Buff Bay Primary School in Portland. And while she was working there, she used to bring me to the Baptist Basic School. I used to go to the Baptist Basic School. I can remember going there. I can remember a lot of people that I grew, like I became friends with a lot of people from Baptist Primary School that we grew up together. People like one of my best friends, yeah. And I knew him from Baptist Basic School. And I can remember that when Baptist used to be over, ended for the day, I can remember that students from my mom class used to come and get me and bring me to my mom because the primary school that my mom teach was next door to Baptist Basic School. Yes. And then I can remember one day we had an earthquake. It was a massive earthquake in Jamaica, And I remember that I was at Baptist. Actually, I was going to Baptist, but I was actually in my mom's class today when the earthquake was going on, and the ground was swirling around. I never saw anything like that before. The ground was swirling around. You know what I mean? And the water in the toilet spilled on the ground. The water in every toilet spilled on the ground. It was a crazy thing. Yes. And after I left Baptist Basic School, I started to attend the Bradford Prep School. The Bradford Prep School. That was also in Buff Bay, Portland. Yes, Bradford Prep. I also attended Bradford Prep. And I remember that when I was in grade one, the teacher said she wanted to speak to my mom. And she told my mom that Keron is too slow. Keron is too slow. You have to put him in kindergarten too. Because he's not reading like the other students are reading. So my mother took me out of grade one and put me into kindergarten too. But luckily, the teacher of kindergarten too took a liking to me because her last name was Brian and my last name was Brian. She took a liking to me and we had a wonderful relationship. But for some reason, when I finally went to grade one, an incident happened in the class where students were misbehaving by throwing around another student's bag. And they threw the bag to me, but I said I wasn't gonna take part in the activity, so I gave back the person their bag. But the teacher next that day, the teacher of our class wasn't there, but the teacher next door called me and said she heard that all the students were misbehaving. And I explained myself that everybody was misbehaving, but I wasn't. I stopped the whatever was going on. But she spanked me anyway. And my mom was upset and said she's gonna take me from that school. So and my mother made a big deal out of it. So I started attending my mother's primary school and I went to grade one there. When I went to grade one there, I made a new friend by the name of Eric. He was the brightest boy in the class. And I started to be friends with Eric at Buff Bay Primary School. At, from I was attending Bradford Prep, I used to draw every day. That's one thing I used to do. I used to draw every day. And in grade one at Buff Bay Primary, I used to draw every day. And in grade two at Buff Bay Primary, I used to draw every day. And I used to always get high scores for art. I used to always get high scores for art. And I used to always get high scores for art. And one remarkable memory about grade two is that math was my favorite subject because I still couldn't read. In grade two, I couldn't read, and math was my favorite subject because I had to read in every subject, and math was the only subject that I didn't have to read. And art. Art was a subject also that I didn't have to read. And math. Math was the only subject apart from art and math that I didn't have to read. So math was my favorite subject. And I can remember my mom telling her friend that, you know that math is his favorite subject. Yeah, I can remember that. I remember that to this day that she was telling her friend, you know that math is his favorite subject. Yes. So in grade two, math was my favorite subject. Then I went to grade three. In grade three, I learned how to read. Yes, I learned how to read in grade three because my grade three teacher is a reading specialist by the name of Miss Dobbs. I can't forget that lady. Miss Dobbs is a reading specialist, and I learned to read in grade three. And In grade 3, I entered Butterkiss Arts competition and I got a certificate for my entry. In grade 6, I entered math competition. And for my school, only three of us for our school entered, and I was one of them. I entered math competition. And then in grade 6, I did exams to go to high school. And I got the second highest pass for the primary in my primary school. The second highest pass in my primary school to go to high school. Yes, and the guy that came first got the highest mark. My mom told me that he had a photographic memory, so that's something remarkable that I remembered about primary school. And then I went to the Titchfield High. Titchfield High is a traditional high school, and in Portland, it's the main traditional high school in Portland. Titchfield High School. Yes, Titchfield High School is a traditional high school, meaning it's like if it was a university in the States, it would be like Yale and Princeton and Harvard. Like, those are Ivy League universities. In Jamaica, Titchfield is a traditional high school, right? So I went to Titchfield. And at Titchfield, I started experimenting with music. I started experimenting with fashion. I started saving. I started visiting the States for the first time. And a number of things while I attended Titchfield. But at Titchfield I faced challenges. And I ended up joining a gang. And because I joined a gang, not because I wanted to be mischievous, but because I wanted the protection of a gang. I joined a gang not because I wanted to be mischievous, but I wanted the protection from a gang. But if I had 1, 2, or 3 enemies, after I joined a gang, I had 10, 20, and 30 enemies. So it made my life even worse. So I decided to leave Titchfield in grade 10. I transferred, not migrated. I transferred from Titchfield to St. Mary Technical High in St. Mary. And they call it Richmond, right? St. Mary Technical High School. They call it Richmond because it's in Richmond, St. Mary. And it's a technical high school, so I started to do technical drawing and art as a vocation because every student has to do 2 vocations. You have to do normal subjects and you have to do 2 vocations because it's a technical high. So I was doing technical drawing and art and visual art as my 2 vocations, and I was very good at both of them. I had my art portfolio, and I had my drawings for technical drawing. And I met some new friends there, and in that region of St. Mary, there's a lot of high schools. There's also St. Mary High, there's also Marymount High, and some other high schools nearby. So after school, I used to interact with a lot of students, and I became even more popular in St. Mary than in Portland. I'm very popular in Portland where I lived, but I wasn't so popular where I go to school in Titchfield. I was popular where I live, but I wasn't so popular at school in Titchfield. But in St. Mary at school, I was more popular at school in St. Mary than at school in Portland. You know what I mean? And but nevertheless, some of my issues that I had growing up still followed me, and I got into some trouble. Not because I wanted to be mischievous, but because I wanted to defend myself. Because, as I said in some other testimony, that being a fortunate young man, being fashionable all the time, being fortunate that your parents, you have both parents working and both parents providing for you, and you're traveling and you're buying clothes and you have the latest video games and the latest shoes, and you've been going to all of the nice events and a lot of girls are talking about you and you're popular and things like that. Things like that can make you a target. So trouble followed me, not because I wanted to be mischievous, but because I wanted to defend myself. And I got in some serious trouble. And I decided that I have to leave high school and go to the States. While I was in the States, that's when I started going to First White Plains Seventh Day Adventist, and I got baptized there. And for about 2 years, I was traveling back and forth between Jamaica and between Jamaica. For about 2 years, I was traveling back and forth between Jamaica and the United States. But before, one of the time when I came back to Jamaica, I started school in a next parish in Jamaica, in a next region. I went to St. Ann and I started going to Brownstone Community College, right? After I left high school in St. Mary, I went to the States for a while and I came back to Jamaica, but I moved to St. Ann and I started Brownstone Community College. I was doing secondary studies, or Jamaicans would understand if I said I was doing some CXCs and a GCE. But to people that are not familiar with Jamaica, I was doing secondary studies, like in the United States, you would call it SATs, right? I was doing some secondary school, some high school studies, so that I could further my education, right? But again, the same issues that I had where I left St. Mary Technical followed me all the way in St. Ann. So again, I decided to leave school, and it was a crushing time in my life, because the first time I left school, I left my whole life. I left all my friends. I left school. I left my education. I left everything behind, and to have to do that and next time again was crushing for me. I was depressed. But nevertheless, I went back to the States. After I was in the States for about 2 years traveling back and forth, then I decided that I'm not gonna be able to live life like this. So I came back to Jamaica, and my dad said to me I can work with him. I could work in his business because my dad owns a clothes. At the time, my dad owned two clothes stores. So my dad said I could work in one of his businesses, and he's gonna make me go to school while I'm working for him. I'll be going to school and doing some more CXC, some more secondary studies, high school studies after high school. You know? So I started while I was working with him, I went to school at Miss Roden. Miss Roden had an evening class, similar to something like what I was doing at Brownstone Community College, evening class, where they did CXCs for people who left high school. People who left high school can still do high school studies at Brownstone Come See, and people who left high school can still do high school studies at evening class. Miss Jordan had an evening class, so I did the subject math, and I did human and social biology. And I should say that when I was going to Brownstone, I was doing about 5 subjects, but because I left and the next year I came back, I could only sit the exam for one subject, and it was English. So all I had was one subject. It was English in GCE. And then when I started doing the math and the human and social biology with Miss Roden, and I got those two. Then I got three subjects. Then the next year I did two more subjects. I did accounts and principles of business. But I didn't get the accounts because I started late. Because in high school I used to do science subjects, but now I'm doing business subjects in evening school. So accounting is a 2 year course. Accounting in evening school is for people that didn't pass it in high school but were familiar with it. But I wasn't familiar with it. I was starting from scratch. And I started late. And if you start late, it's a continuation of what you have learned before. So I missed what I should have learned before, and I started at a later date, so I was at a disadvantage. So that caused me to fail accounting, but I got the principle of business. So I had four subjects. And at that time, I had applied for the University of Technology, which is UTech, and I got through. But I did not apply for student loan and I did not get accounts. I only had four subjects and I needed five. I needed five and I did not get accounts to make it five, and I did not apply for student loan. But I got through for university though. They sent me the acceptance letter, and I was excited, and I showed my mom and I showed my sister because they were visiting from abroad, and they were very proud of me, and they said, "Wow, I can't believe you did this. This is amazing. This is nice. You didn't tell us that you were gonna do it. It's amazing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna help you. Being that you made this step on your own, we're gonna help you to go to school." And I said, "I'm not. Maybe I don't go this year, but maybe I go next year." And they said, "That's fine." So the next year, so the year when I did the POB and the accounting, I didn't do it at Miss Roden's evening class. I did them at Anata Bay High evening class. Yes, I did them at Anata Bay High evening class. And I did them at Anata Bay High evening class. And when I needed one more subject to go to go to UTech, but I decided that I'm not gonna do one subject, I'm gonna do two. So I did accounts and I did accounts and I did social studies, but I didn't do them at Another Bay I did them at Buff Bay Adventist. It's a primary school. I think it's a prep school, but they have an evening class that does high school studies. You know what I mean? So I did them there. So I got both of them. So now I had six subjects, and this time I applied again for UTech, and I also applied for student loan, and I got through for UTech, and I got through for student loan, and now I had six subjects, and I needed five. So again, tell my mom and my sister. They said yes, we're gonna help you, and I went to student loan and got everything, and went to UTech and bring in the subjects and did everything, and I started UTech. Yes, I started UTech. While at UTech is gonna be a testimony by itself. UTech is going to be a testimony by itself. But yes, while at UTech, I enrolled in the business administration program, bachelor's of business administration program, and it's a 4 year program, and for the first 2 years, every student in the program does a general thing. They do all the same subjects for the first 2 years, but for the third year and the final year, you specialize into your major. So first I wanted to major in marketing because I like advertising, and the majors are marketing, general management, production and operation system management. That's factory. and information system management, that's like computer, and finance and banking, and accounting. I'm not sure if I said accounting before. Yes, and there are a couple minors, right? So first I wanted to major in marketing, but after a while I decided that no, I'm not gonna do marketing. I'm gonna major in finance and banking. And when I used to look at the brochure that shows all the majors at UTEC, the UTEC brochure for first year for prospective students. Even though I said I wanted to do marketing, whenever I went over all of the majors and I read finance and banking, I always got a soothing feeling. Whenever I reach finance and banking, I always got a soothing feeling. Yes. Yes. So I felt like God knew that finance and banking was my calling, and I majored in economics because reason why I switched to finance and banking and economics because it's math, right? It's numbers. So marketing is a major that you'll have to be reading a lot. And I really hate a lot of reading in college. There's too much reading. I really hated a lot of reading. And for the finance and banking and the economics, it was just numbers. And I didn't have any problem doing any amount of calculation. Calculation didn't bother me. But reading a lot of books bothered me. Reading a lot of books bothered me, so I decided to do finance and banking. Yes. And while I was doing my finance and banking degree, when I was coming to the end of the program, I watched Entertainment Reporter on Stage TV. One of them was an entertainment program in Jamaica. And I saw a well established producer saying that he's partnering with UTEC to offer a music course for artists. And I'm an artist, I'm a poet, and I'm a poet, spoken word poet. So he said he was going to offer a music program for artists, and it's going to be free. All you got to do is apply. So I applied and I got through. It's a music masters. It's his organization, the producer has an organization by the name of Fuel Jamaica, and it partnered with UTEC and the US government, the USAID, to offer a 2 cohort program. It's only gonna be 2 cohorts and then it's gonna be over. Right? 2 batches and it's gonna be over. And it's gonna be free because it's sponsored by the US government. They said that it would have been too expensive for students, so they got the US government to sponsor the program. So they said you can apply for a first choice and a second choice. My first choice was performance, and my second choice was songwriting. So I did the program, and it was amazing. They used to have free food for us. They used to take our pictures while we were performing. They got very established people from the music industry to come and speak to us, to come and train us, to come and teach us each class. They had different kind of class. They had songwriting class. They had performing class. They had a weekly class that they teach us about the music business, and it had a lot of information and a lot of valuable things that they taught us. And I met some really important people. I met Ibo Cooper. He died the other day, but he was the president of Jaria in Jamaica, which is like a big music institution that is the umbrella institution for many other smaller institutions like JCAP that collect royalties for publishers in Jamaica, music publishers in Jamaica. Yes. And I met a lot of other students because the program offered songwriting, performance, as well as producing and music management. So I met some people that did music management. I met some other people that did producing. I met some and some of those people are people that are established today. I met some people in the performance and songwriting area. Some of those people are established today. You know what I mean? It was like a pool of some of Jamaica's young and brightest upcoming stars. Yes, I was very grateful for that opportunity. So I graduated UTech with a bachelor's in finance and banking, and I graduated the FIFU Jamaica MIR program with a master's in residence in music, first choice performance, second choice songwriting. And then after that, the last school I attended was a school for forex trading, and it is called Billionaires Academy, right? It's a self-paced course where you watch videos on your time at your pace, and you have a mentor to guide you along the way, right? It's called Billionaires Academy. That's the last school I've enrolled in. And I still watch videos from Billionaires Academy, even though I feel like I've reached a moderate level of competency in forex trading or day trading. Yes, I feel like I reach a good level in trading. But I still watch videos because trading is a lifelong thing. Trading is something that, you know what I mean, can be self-paced over many years. So, but 2 years is good. 2 years is good. So far, I've been in it for 4 years. Yes, 4 years. Yes, and I've made money. The money that I spent on the school, I made that back. I made back that money already. I see where I made money from it. So it's very good. It's a very lucrative thing, and it's a very lucrative thing, and it's a very lucrative field. So I think this is where I'll end this testimony to show you the schools that I went through and the struggles that I went through going to some of these schools, and show you the journey that I went through, and God led me all the way through all of those circumstances to where I am at now. And I think that He brought me to a wonderful place. So thanks for listening.